Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so our expert today is Kins McIlvaine, who currently is over communications at City View, previously Hill Country Lakeline. But previous to that, give everyone a sense of what you did in the digital space before Hill Country.
Yeah, so I started marketing with Starbucks many years ago. And that was when they were doing physical and we had little regional marketing groups. And then I moved over to Torchy's eventually. I did all the new store marketing for them for a long time. And then I did consulting after that for various restaurants and hotels in town, boutique style. And then, and then I took some time off because I had retired from Torchy's and moved on. And so, and then my wife and I sat down and she was like, what are you actually passionate about? And I was like, well, I'm passionate about spreading the gospel. But at the same time, you don't get paid very much for that.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know. So we had to pray about that and accepted a job at Hill Country, worked over there as the digital communications for a couple of years, and now I'm at City View.
Yeah.
So,
You've also done apartment life.
We're doing apartment life. We just we're gonna get our first foster kid today. We got licensed with fostering.
Nice. Wow.
We got a bunch of stuff going on.
That's awesome.
Ministry all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, let me pray for us, and we'll let Kins go. So, Father, thank you for today, and just the unique skill set you've given our brother that does help us in all the ways to reach people where they are, which a lot of that's online. And so help us to do that well, that Kins would have very practical things that would help each of our churches to do that. And then bless he and the family as they have their first foster child today. And so would you watch over them? In Jesus' name, amen.
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 All right. We're just going to jump right into it. This is what we're going to review today. We're going to go over website best practices, social media usage, do's and don'ts, YouTube and streaming, podcasting, online advertising, AI in the church, and then the things to consider, because there's probably about 1 million things we could talk about over the span of 4 or 5 days. But I'm going to cover what we can in this hour. Do that. So, main thing is, why do we do digital? So in a world where people scroll before they step in a church without a digital presence is like a light hidden under a basket. Your websites, social media, and online content are the new front doors.
Nice.
Where first impressions are made, questions are answered, and connections begin. Digital isn't a distraction from ministry, it is ministry. It's how we meet people where they are. So,
Preach it.
yeah. So website best practices for 2025, and this has held. I made this presentation about 2 weeks ago, and I didn't think it would. The online space rapidly advances, so I've also got my note here in case anything's changed. But one of the major things is on your website, mobile first design and simplicity. So if you're getting a new website, or if you're building a website, and somebody says, "Yeah, I'm building you a website, and it's mobile friendly," you should fire that person and go with somebody else, because it needs to be mobile first, not mobile friendly. These are two different things, and a lot of people get those confused. So mobile first design, because if you ever pass a billboard or if you're seeing advertisement, I would bet that the majority of people in this room don't go home, get on their laptop, type in the website. They just sit there on their phone and do it. So 60 to 80% of people will see you online first. And then along with that is all the key information needs to be in the first 5 seconds. So when they hit your website, all the information they needs to be in the first 5 seconds of them scrolling. If they have to go to another page, if they have to scroll too long to find something, it's not going to work out. Thirdly, using real photos and videos. Everybody knows what a stock image looks like nowadays. And a lot of people are like, well, I can't get real photos and videos because I don't have a photographer and I don't have this. If you've got a senior in high school that has an iPhone or an Android phone and can take pictures on Sundays, real photos, done and done. Transparent, warm, and inviting language. A lot of people, I like to clarify on this, because a lot of people will say use transparent and inviting language, and they'll say you're invited to a warm and welcoming and transparent congregation. I'm like, that's not just be normal, make it conversational. And then also clear next steps. So you have to have a call to action on your page. If you don't have something for people to click on to where they can plan a visit or learn about next steps, we need to get on that as soon as possible. And then lastly, keep it up to date as possible. So times, links, all the kind of stuff. Make sure that your links are working. Make sure that your times are accurate. And that.
All right, hold on. Go back for a second.
Yeah.
And please ask whatever questions you have in real time.
Yes.
What does mobile first design and simplicity mean practically? How do you do that?
Mobile first design and simplicity is hiring a great web developer who can basically when you're building a website now, instead of like you'll put in the code. I don't know if anybody's here a developer, but you put in the code, you put in everything you need, but instead of just formatting it for the widescreen, you're first formatting it for a mobile phone to make sure that that's your priority. So your links, everything you should be able to find has to pop up on a mobile phone quickly, easily, efficiently. There shouldn't be a long load time for it. There's a lot of things involved with that, but that's the primary, is just getting really good development behind it and making sure it looks good there before you launch it. Yeah, good question. The 5-second test. So,
Lee, go ahead.
yes. No, go ahead.
Key info in first 5 seconds. Is that what would you say? Like just quickly. What?
So, pull up cityviewbible.org on your phones. Let's do an example test.
Yeah.
If you have the internet on your phones.
The World Wide Web.
So then in the first 5 seconds, you see on the web page, you should see Summer at CityView or Summer with CityView. So that's the primary thing we're promoting now. Yeah. So when you push that X, click off of it, you see who we're about. So you see CityView Bible Church. We're for every man, woman, and child. When do we meet? Every Sunday, 8 a.m., 9:45, 11:30. You see Explore CityView. You can plan a visit. You can get directions. You can learn more about CityView. You can get connected. That's all within your first 5 seconds. So the primary things you're going to want to see are, if your service times and address aren't visible in the first 3 to 5 seconds, nobody's going to go digging for that. Nobody wants to go, oh, okay, yeah, I want to go to your church. When does the service? Oh man, they're going to click off and they're going to find the next church. They're going to go with that. So that's kind of the first 5 seconds. So clear visible times on the home page. Don't bury your service times. Don't bury your direction. And then the plan a visit is a bonus. So if you have the staff, the connections team, the volunteers to be able to handle plan a visit forms, you should absolutely be doing that, because our connections team, I work closely with Mark Davis, who is on our team, and I've developed a plan a visit form so somebody can actually register their kids, they can get their whole visit, and then when they arrive at the church, it's not just them walking in the door and looking around, it's them saying, I'm here to see Mark Davis or one of his assigned people, and they'll take you by the hand and they'll say, here's the connections desk, here's what we have for students. Oh, you have a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 17-year-old. Okay, here's where they go, here's how that works. And just having a really personal, hospitable experience, especially as you're growing as a church. Cool. Secondary. So these are things that don't necessarily have to be in the first 5 seconds, but could be useful. First one is watch online. So that's a visible button or tab that says watch live, online worship, or similar. Whether that's a YouTube link, whether that's whatever you use for your platform. The platform doesn't really matter in this day and age. What to expect. So it's a brief, friendly link or section that tells someone what visiting is like. So for us, our Connect page has lined that out in kind of a facts section to say, here's kind of what CityView is, here's what we do, here's the kind of worship to expect, here's how long the service is. Just a brief overview, and it just lets people be at ease knowing that they don't have to show up in a suit and tie, because you have to remember that a lot of people who haven't been in the church in 30 years are coming to church for the first time, and maybe they've gone to a Catholic church in the past, or maybe they've had an experience where it was traditional. And so just letting letting people have that sort of putting their guard down. And then contact info, email, phone, ideally a contact form, all easy to find. I would say, so right now our emails, like one of the things that we're having an issue with is that our emails get hacked, not our email personally, but somebody finds them and they send out spam as Keith Ferguson asking everybody for gift cards and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Contact form is the easiest way to avoid that kind of stuff. Phone number is good. They can call your church if you've got a receptionist, if you've got somebody that's going to answer it. If you don't have anybody on the other end of the line, there's no use putting your phone number, but the contact form is a surefire way to capture all those people. And then bonus, include office hours or a need prayer button. So that would be if you've got office hours where people can stop by for benevolence requests or needs on a weekly basis, you can put those on there. And then the need prayer button, if somebody needs prayer, if somebody's just looking for answers, that's a good way to get them connected as well.
Hey, Ken, stand there.
Yes.
Like, obviously, during COVID, everyone went to live streaming.
Everyone went to live stream.
Right?
Yes.
And then since then, I feel like I've heard some say, we've gone away from it for these reasons. Others are like, no, we keep doing it. What's the best practice? Like, do we have to for everyone? For those of you doing this online,
That's all.
what's the latest?
That's discretionary within each individual church. So like for instance, our YouTube growth in the past year and some change has grown by about 2,000 people. So when you grow at a rapid pace like that and you've got these people that are starting to engage, you provide them some more recognition. If you know that your online viewership is 20 people a week and you know those 20 people and they're all watching from home because whatever reason, there's not necessarily as big of a need to address that. It really is just dependent on the size of your church and how you want to handle that. In terms of live streaming, I would absolutely say live streaming. We'll get into that a little later, but if you were live streaming during COVID, you should continue live streaming. It's not hurting you. It's only helping you. It's only reaching people. There's no downside, in my opinion, to live streaming your sermon. Unless you're really putting out negative language out there and you're a Mormon, then stop live streaming. But no, yeah, everything else is good.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Jumping into social media. So this is profiles, Facebook, Instagram, which is also Threads, YouTube, TikTok, X. The main rule I have here is claim it even if you don't use it. So if you don't want to use Twitter, you don't want to use TikTok, you don't want to use Threads, claim your username, because eventually that could be the biggest platform. That could be the next thing. When TikTok was Musical.ly, does anybody remember that? Okay. Anyway, when TikTok we claim the username so that we have it, it becomes TikTok, it blows up as this short form video platform, sort of unexpectedly, but we have the username so that we can go back to it and use it if we ever need to. Personally, right now, like CityView doesn't utilize our Twitter account. We don't actually utilize Twitter. Nobody engages with us on Twitter. We would just be spewing out like daily Bible verses, and it wouldn't be really useful content for the people that follow us. Username consistency where possible. So that is like all of our, so don't go to Instagram as much as you can avoid it and say like CityView Official or CVBC over here, and then we're this over here, because then you end up with a laundry list of names and you're like, what's the login for that? And you've got this weird page on Facebook. Nobody can find you. They're like, I'm looking for CityView Bible Church. They're not listed as CityView Bible Church here. So just that consistency in your name, and as much as you can cater it around your specific name would be ideal. I know there are a bunch of churches like have life in your name. The rest of it, there's a million life churches. Keep it simple. So that is, keep your profile simple. Keep your, like, when you pull up the Instagram, you pull up the Facebook, you pull up the Instagram, name, dates, times, location. That's it. I'm not going to put my position statement on Instagram because nobody is like, oh, no, yada, yada, with women and child. So I don't remember it off the top of my head. But our Instagram bio, because And then link or two. So that would be always put a link in your Instagram profile, always put a link in your Twitter, your Facebook, wherever possible. Put a link and make it as much as you can. If you're not subscribed to Linktree or if you're not subscribed to a link gathering resource, you can have one of those, brand it as yourself, have 15 links on there that go to children's and women's and Easter and all the things you have going on. And it prevents a lot of the having to renew that link every based on what you're doing that week. Cool? Yes.
Ted, I don't know what you just said. What's a link tree?
So a link tree is a resource that allows you to aggregate multiple links under one. So if you go to
What would that be?
so it's a link gather. It's like I don't know how to describe it in layman's terms. Yeah, it's the mall. Yeah, it's one link that expands to multiple links.
3 pages on your website.
Okay.
Right.
So you can link to specific places on your website that link for like events,
Correct.
or your other social media platforms even, or forms
Yeah.
for like visiting or prayer or whatever.
Right.
All right.
That is the question. Okay. I should learn how to describe that in layman's terms. Actually.
Oh, for
Yes.
For City View, you guys got different like for like students, or you just have one main one for each church?
We have the primary profiles, and then what my suggestion would be, so City View has one for students, and we have one for college and young adults. I'm meeting with the college and young adults ministry tonight to kind of discuss that and what that looks like, because if you're going to have one, you need people to own it. So if you have one and nobody's posting it, just go ahead and delete it. Just go ahead and cut
You ever see
ties.
stuff like that like negatively impact like
But it will make people realize that you don't have a student ministry presence. So if you've got a student ministry page and nobody's keeping it up and nobody's posting, nobody's doing anything with it, and an outsider comes and they're like, oh man, I want to get involved with, what do they have for student ministry? Oh, you're following them here. Click into it and they see that nobody's posted for years or months, and nobody's really doing anything with it, then that first impression is more, well, I don't know, like, it doesn't really seem like they have a lot going on. It doesn't really seem like they're doing much, so we'll go to this place instead. So it could deter students, or college young adults, whatever page you're trying to set up. I would say if you're wanting to set up individual ministries to have their little community of people, so one of the things is like our children's ministry wants their own social media, and life groups wants their social media and all this. Get them into Facebook groups or a group me or another group context that's more relatable and chat-centric. So something where they can get information and be in community without you having to like maintain a social media post every 5 seconds. So information, invitation, inspiration, and celebration. So 3 I's and a C. Information. This is what social media should be used for. Information is news, updates, logistics, and reminders. These are things like Easter, Summer with City View, different things you have going on in your church. That should be rare, but it's invitation, personal warm calls to action that draw people in. So when you're doing a personal invitation to draw somebody in, you're not going to say, hey, this is Keith from City View Bible Church, join us at 9 or 11. You're going to say, hey, you want to get connected to the church in the area, you just use a lot of language that includes more people. Inspiration, faith, encouraging, and shareable content. And then celebration, sharing stories, highlights, and wins, big or small. So whether that's a baptism story, whether that's a story of somebody coming to faith, whether that's a story of a marriage being healed, that's the kind of stuff you want to share on social media, because that'll add to the person that's not going to your church. We'll dive into this a little deeper. So information should be posted about 1 to 2 times a month. Here's what's happening. It's news, updates, logistics, reminders. So you're going to say Sunday service times, weather cancellations, program start dates, upcoming month posts. That's one of my favorites. I tend to cover most ministries. So we'll put a post out that says like, here's what's happening. It'll just be a carousel post of the 25 different ministries. That way, no ministry comes to you and says, hey, I didn't get a post on social media. It's all in one thing. People start to get in that rhythm. And then keep it short and simple. Graphics, countdowns, and carousels are what you do. Don't just put up a big wordy post. Nobody's going to read that, but if you've got some visuals to keep it engaged. And then why it matters. People rely on social media to know what's going on. If they don't find clear info there, they may miss it altogether.
What do you mean by carousel?
So carousel is one of the multiple posts. So you've got 10 or 11 pictures. And you can actually, you can post it on TikTok now. So, yeah, that came out recently. Anyway, invitation 2 to 3 times a month. So this is, we'd love for you to join us. So this is personal, warm calls to action for all people can. So it's come sit with us this Sunday, planning your first visit. Alpha starts Wednesdays. Invitation to come to church on Sunday. We're not trying to go to church on Sunday. You're also saying be engaged, regeneration, you're wanting people to be recovery, whatever ministries you have going on throughout the week. Invite people to that, whether it's even if men's breakfast, women's Bible study, whatever it is. Use real faces and language, like if you're invited, join us, come as you are. So, real faces, again, this is goes back to like find somebody in your church that's really outgoing and really good on camera. There's probably people in your church that know social media or can get in front of a TikTok video. Just say, hey, can you, real quick, can you film an invite for me that just invites people to the Bible study or invites people to this event? And then why that matters, so social media is a window, but people need an open door to feel welcome. So people will look at it and they'll see it all day long and be like, that's a great event. I love that they're doing that. That's for those women who are in their little group over there, or those men in their group over there. When they get invited, it's that next level like, oh, I can do this and I can register for it. Inspiration. This is truth you can carry today. So these are faith-filled, encouraging, and shareable content. So this is scripture graphics, quotes from the sermon, 30-second teaching clips, prayers and devotionals. Tip, think, would someone send this to a friend or save it for later? So these are things from your sermon content or from a study content, podcast, devotional, whatever you've got going on. These are the highlight clips of something that's like this. If people only see this 30-second clip, and that's all they see from my church going on, is it going to add value to their life? That's the thing you want to post on under inspiration. And you can do this 2 to 3 times a week. So you can do this. I mean, you can do this realistically. You can do it 2 to 3 times a day with how social media is running nowadays, especially on TikTok. So if you've got inspiration, if you just like, you're like, man, my sermon last week was on, and I've got 10 clips. Like, post 2 times a day. That's great. Keep it rolling. Why it matters. Inspiration builds spiritual connection and keeps your content mission-driven rather than just promotional. So again, your social media and your digital is ministry. Like, content goes back to that. Celebration. Look what God is doing. What it is, sharing stories, highlights, and wins, big or small. So some of these examples are baptisms, outreach events, volunteer shout-outs, youth camp recap. So one of the big things that we posted recently was our Surf Saturday event. We had the most people that have ever been at a Surf Saturday event. We took a lot of pictures. We had pictures from phones. We had a guy from the city, and I was like, just send all the pictures to me. They sent me like 20 photos. I posted them all online, and that just like, people go crazy over that because it's what your church is actually doing, how you're involved in the community. Same thing with the recent stories, like Keith shared a story from on Sunday about a lady in our church who had been impacted by somebody praying for her. Clip out that story. It's 2.5 minutes long. Shorts now, this is, we'll get into later, but shorts now can be up to 3 minutes on all platforms. So we're moving from short form video back to long form, which is a unique little, we'll get into that later. But sharing stories and sharing those key moments. And then using photos, testimonials, reels, anything that says this is we're celebrating. So we recently did a re-engage video where we filmed different couples and how their lives were changed. We've done regen videos with people that have gone through trauma and recovery and have come through that. So getting people to share their testimonies. It's a very personal thing. It's a very effective thing. And it draws people into a ministry more than you just saying, I can invite you into a recovery ministry all day long, but if I can tell you how my life was changed and how I found Jesus, then that's going to invite you. I don't need to then tag oh yeah, and by the way, come with me to read it. No, I can be like, my life was changed because I did this, because I went here, and I found God. And then why it matters. Celebration builds community, pride, joy, and momentum. It shows that life is happening here. So that's just the story of your church and the story of how God's moving in your church. And we've all got those. So unless God isn't moving in your church, then that's not my prayer. That's what my bakery. Yeah. Here's a quick to-dos and to-don'ts. You can take a picture of this, or we'll send it out. We'll have a presentation. So
we'll send out the whole presentation later.
yeah. So you'll have all this information. I know it's a lot, but the big do's: post consistently, use real photos, engage back, use trending tools wisely. One of the things our students did recently is use the trending audio. Now, this trending audio was cool. Everybody loved it. And it also, if you click on a trending audio, it led into a really vulgar song. So that little 10 seconds of the audio was like cool and catchy. The whole song is not cool and catchy. So what I tell the students, like if there's an E next to it, E is for explicit, don't use that audio. So using video editing, so a sermon would usually be all day Monday. I would be editing sermons, clipping sermons, subtitling sermons, getting them posted, etc. It now takes me about 3 or 4 hours on Monday. So it's cut my time in half. Really good tools there. Automations, scheduling content via tools like Buffer or Later. So again, if you don't have the time or resources, take 3 hours, 4 hours every week, make a couple posts, put them into a scheduling software, and that scheduling software will push them out for you. So you don't have to be monitoring them and you don't have to be over them all the time. AI integrations in nearly every software. Learn the software. So if you think you're not using AI, why don't use AI for anything? AI is already integrated into every software that we use on every computer, every phone. So you're already using it. So just learn how you can use it. AI is a tool. AI is not an individual program that can run and learn itself. AI does what it's told. And that's where human creativity comes into play.
Question about AI.
Yes.
Is there any recommendations on like being transparent? Because that's another thing coming up. Is like people like, are you using AI or not?
Transparency in AI, yeah. I mean, I'll tell people straight up we use AI, but again, we use it as a tool.
Yeah.
If you are, the areas where it starts to get controversial are like that guy who gave, I don't know if you guys saw the court hearing where the guy was able to testify to his own death because they used an AI video. So they took his face and his voice and used that as a testimony in court as an AI video and made an AI video of him, and the judge granted it as admissible. And now that admissible. And so they were able to use that to actually change the person who killed him's sentencing. And so it's very controversial. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you want to, like, if you're using AI to create a sermon, if you're using AI to create the original content, that is going to get you into some real gray areas with a lot of different people, because there's a lot of AI tools too that aren't operating on a clean scale. The known ones are operating above board. Right. There are a lot of them that will steal content, that just do Google image searches, that steal images, videos, photos, likeness of people, and that's the kind of stuff that's going to get you in trouble. But I would say, I mean, if somebody is asking you, hey, do we use AI for anything? Like, I'll tell people all day long, like, yeah, I'm using AI because it cuts my time in half, and I don't have to be so stressed about doing sermon clips or this post or whatever. So, yeah, as transparent as possible, always.
Kids, you mentioned ChatGPT up there. Is that the one you recommend using? You mentioned tongue-in-cheek, like.
Yeah, I've used ChatGPT and Claude are the two that I go between.
Okay.
And so that's right now. ChatGPT is doing better. Next month that could change, and the month after that. So the AI, they're in a race to the top, and they're in a race to be the next best technology. So any AI software you use, never do the only thing I've subscribed to yearly is Sermon Shots and SubMagic, because those are pretty steady. Don't do yearly subscriptions for AI content. Try to do monthly wherever you can, because next month that AI software could be invalid and unuseful. So just having that mindset of just being able to adapt the next thing. And there might be another chatbot that comes out that's 10 times better than ChatGPT, and we all switch over to that. So AI is just one of those things right now where it changes every day. So
Ken, what's your?
How do you know it changes?
I was about
What's
how
your-
do you know
How
if
do you
it's
know
safe?
it's behind?
How do you know which one's the best?
That's a
ChatGPT gets slow, then you gotta go grok.
We
You
just
gotta
have to
keep
ask
moving.
them.
You gotta keep moving.
it's
like
literally
that.
just
Put it
having
in
like
each one.
having the windows open on my
Absolutely.
computer and just.
If you are not doing
Wow.
that, you are behind.
I mean, yeah,
Wait, so hang on, so if it's bad, is it just gonna not load, or is it gonna be, are we gonna be smart enough to know this content is bad?
if you're inputting content and not getting the results that you're looking for, like if you're putting in something and you give ChatGPT a very clear definition of what you want, and it doesn't spit out an answer that's clear,
Yeah.
but you go to Claude and you input that same thing, so copy and paste your
Prompts.
directives
Yeah,
into your prompts, in each AI software, and just see which one puts out the best content.
Okay.
ChatGPT is moving away from, like, they did a lot initially. I don't know if you guys used ChatGPT a year ago, 5 years ago, whatever. If you were using it, you would see that it just put out like very robotic language, very encyclopedic language, and so you had to direct it, say, okay, spit this out at a 10th grade reading level. Don't be too smart. Like, you had to almost like dumb it down and be like, hey, chill. Like, we're normal people, so we can talk like this. It's caught up with a lot of that. Same thing with Claude. Claude, before ChatGPT could read PDFs, Claude could read PDFs. So you could go in there, upload an entire PDF, and get a summary of your entire outline or whatever it is, whatever document you're trying to read. Now ChatGPT can do that. So it's just it's gonna end up being like an Apple or Samsung thing where they're both really good, and you just kind of have to like pick one this month, pick this one next month, and go with whatever suits you. ChatGPT's free version is always good. Claude, I think, still has a free version, so those are good ways to test them out. Yeah.
And with that, you recommend just paying the fee to get the upgraded version?
I would say if you find it valuable enough to use it consistently, pay for the upgraded version. Yeah, you'll just get a lot more, especially if you're doing things like images or full paragraphs or things where you're gonna like use up the free bandwidth. Definitely pay for it.
Okay.
And it's $20 a month or something, so it's not like you're not paying an arm and a leg for it every month. So yeah.
And then if you were to talk to pastors and say, this is why you should be using it,
Mm-hmm.
what's the short list of those reasons?
Time, energy, effectiveness.
And
You
using
know.
it for what primarily?
I would say, for pastors, I would use it to, you could almost double check your sermon notes and double check what you're writing for proofreading. It's a good way to source quotes. Like, man, I need 10 quotes around this biblical subject, and it'll pull it out. Oh, here's one from Tim Keller, here's one from Billy Graham, here's one from, you've got 10 quotes to choose from. So it's a good resource for that. In terms of just being able to, the things you would usually Google is what I would say. Like, if you're gonna go Google something, go ChatGPT and see what comes up. And it might be good, it might be bad also. So just your own discernment in that. But I would say use it essentially effectively like Google. Like, if you've got something, I need to research this book or whatever, like ChatGPT can give you the summary of any book.
Yep.
So if you want a book summary for some book that you're trying to pull a quote from, like ChatGPT will give you that summary in 10 seconds.
You can also
So.
train ChatGPT pretty well.
What's that?
You can train ChatGPT.
You can train ChatGPT. So once you have an account with ChatGPT, Claude, any of these guys, you can train it to, like, my ChatGPT is Christian. My ChatGPT knows Jesus and knows that every question I ask needs to be biblically focused. But I've put in tools like, do this from a biblical perspective, do this, because if you ask a ChatGPT, like, you just go into a clean ChatGPT with no history, and you say, who's Jesus, it's going to give you the wide historical context of who Jesus was, and it's possibly the figurehead of Christianity. So, you can definitely train your chat bots to be centered around your level of thinking. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions on that one?
Well, just
That's
so
a lot.
you guys know, there was a programmer at Hill Country who developed an AI, I don't know what you call it, but it's called the Apologist Project. And what the AI tool pulls from is all the theological sources we would go to, right? So if you put in a, ministry question, theological question, the places that it's generating that info from is all stuff that we would subscribe to. So it's called the Apologist Project, and it's gaining a lot of steam.
Yeah. There's a lot of good tools like that are coming out that are very Christ-centered, which is cool. So, yeah. Good things. And then other opportunities. So there's a lot, just with the slides that I've shared. You've already got like 2 years of work ahead of you. Here's some other things you can add in. So the email newsletter is still powerful. Getting people to subscribe to your email newsletter, it's always going to be a source of information. Like our subscriber count goes up every week. I think we just passed 2,000 subscribers on our email list. So it's a way for people to get that information in their inbox. The big thing you want to know is not to spam them. Don't send out an email newsletter 3 times a week. Send it out once a week. Get into a rhythm. Ours goes out between Thursdays and Saturdays at various times. I kind of change it up every week. But it goes out consistently. People expect it on between Thursday and Saturday. They get into the rhythm of checking their email. You kind of get that rhythm going. Second one is the Bible app. If you're not on the Bible app, get on the Bible app. It doesn't hurt. It's free. It's a free resource. You can add your church to the Bible app. You can add your event to the Bible app, which is your Sunday service. And then it allows people to, if they're checking the Bible app for a nearby church, they can find you on the map on the Bible app. So that's an easy one. That's a low buy. $0 buy-in. It takes about 5 minutes to put your sermon notes on there. SMS updates. So if you're not subscribed to a texting service, I would recommend that. Use it wisely. So don't be spamming people. Don't be sending out 3 or 4 texts a week. Send out like once every couple weeks. And then also if you've got larger ministries, like our church has men's and women's and life groups and all these people, make sure that they have somebody who they're reporting to and is defining those so that you can say, like, I make sure that our texts aren't going out like men's, women's, and students all sent theirs out on Wednesday at 10:30 and somebody's phone is just like, because that'll be an immediate unsubscribe. Like, I don't care how great you are, like, I'm just going to be, okay, stop. Like, you're annoying now. So just use them wisely, use them with discernment. Nonprofit opportunities, look every time. So anything you're going to sign up for, always Google blank for nonprofits. There's usually something. So our website, for instance, we have a calendar on our website. We've got a video integrated on our website for sermons. These are like little tools that we put in WordPress. We Googled this whatever sermon tool for nonprofits. Boom, nonprofits, subscribe. We got 3 years free. Great. So it's just going to save you money at every corner, especially with something like the softwares like Adobe. If you're using Premiere, you're using Photoshop, Illustrator, they've got nonprofit discounts. So it might not necessarily be free, but it's giving you good discounts. So always look at nonprofit. Google Maps, low-hanging fruit. If you guys aren't in Google Maps, that would be something to do today. Just make sure that people can find you. And then make sure there's a picture of your church, not a picture of a field. So like if you're recently built, or if you have people that go by, like I know when I was at Hill Country, there were these girls that loved taking pictures of the bluebonnets out in the field. And when you Google Map Hill Country Bible Church, it was like pictures of girls in fields. And it's like, that's great. That's nothing about that. It tells me nothing about the church. So just make sure you get those pictures on there and correct information.
Hey, Ken's on that.
Yes.
I feel like you were the guy, or you or Garrett was like, hey, if Church's Chicken comes up before your
Yes.
church, you should fix that.
Yeah. And that's the SEO and the Google Maps work together in that, yeah.
So how do we help our church show up when someone searches for it? Like church in whatever town, church in Round Rock.
Putting correct information on your website, making sure you have your backend SEO and analytics updated. So if and that gets like deeper into like Google Analytics and SEO work on the back end of your website, just kind of goes into the next one, don't keyword stuff. So don't just on your homepage put church in Round Rock, like a million times. That's gonna kill you. But if you put the right things and say, hey, we're a non-denominational church that's growing in Round Rock, Texas, Google's gonna comb that and say, oh, cool, this church can go to the top. With something in terms of like Hill Country's church, they used a service that built them a frame for their website, and on top of the frame built the website. So nothing SEO-wise was done on the back end. So their SEO was dead. So that's something that we tried to fix and tried to implement good standards and procedures there. And I think that they have. Well, they should have a new website coming. If they don't have a new website coming, let's talk about that. But putting correct SEO on the back end, making sure your pages are all labeled, making sure everything just has the right language. Those are the biggest like low-hanging fruit tools. If you want to jump more into like analytics and data points and SEO stuff, I mean, we can get into that and we can test stuff and we can, mess around with it all day long. But yeah, that gets pretty deep when you get into it. And then Google Trends website, that's always a good one. I like to go to. It just shows you what people are searching in your area. So if you want to push out like marriage ministry, you'd be surprised how many people are like Googling things like suicide and alcoholism and drug use and my marriage is falling apart and my finances suck, like in your radius. And you can either like take that and be like, wow, this city sucks, there's no hope. Or you can say like, how can we be a beacon of hope? And instead of promoting things like your church, you can promote things like you can be a center of wellness for your city and a center of hope for your community. So it's kind of how I view that. Any questions on any of those? Okay. Actionables, bring it all together from online viewer to in-person visitor to committed member. So that's kind of what all these things will do. You want to be able to take that person who saw you online to become an in-person visitor, to become a committed member. And that's really easy. You just got to have the people in place when people land at your church, because people are going to land at your church. You've got to have the people in place to welcome them and get them into that membership pipeline. And then your action steps, what can my church, these are this question for you guys to consider. What can my church start doing this month? So this is just something like out of all the information, just name 3 or 4 things that you can do this week, this month, through summer, just to get started, just to do something. Because if you just do nothing, then you do nothing. It's pretty easy. And then small wins equal momentum. So you're not looking at, you don't want to find a viral video. Like, that's great. One of your videos goes viral, wonderful, good for you. That's not your goal. Don't make it your goal. You make viral video your goal, it's just all your content's gonna be trash. Nobody's gonna know. So, pretty cut and dry on that. And Q&A, big Q&A time. Or no questions too.
So you're gonna do a monthly update on a video for us? Is that what you're gonna do?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I actually have it on my. And it's funny because I don't have any time, but I have it on my radar to make videos regarding different church marketing areas, and then post those to YouTube probably like once a week or once every month or so, just to get people out of the stream of paying for things. There's so many small churches that are getting crushed by these guys that are like, we're going to get you all the new visitors, and like, oh yeah, wonderful, and I'm going to pay you $10,000, and that's going to be my entire budget, and now my church is gone because we wasted all our money on church candy or Subsplash or whatever the next day. So,
Who are voices that you're listening to? Like Brady Shearer does a lot.
Brady Shearer's
Is he a
solid.
trusted voice?
Brady Shearer, Gary Newhoff. Brady Shearer is trusted for the most part. I mean, again, have discernment in all areas. There's some stuff that he does up in Canada that's not as relevant. It's just church culture thing. Gary Newhoff, leadership, church. Always follow Life Church, Passion, all the big churches that are doing big things other than just being a church. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, following all the key leaders, I think that most of you guys follow. So cool. Yeah.
For website platforms, you said WordPress?
WordPress ideally.
Okay.
So you could do Squarespace. Squarespace is going to own your information. There are DNS things and little keys that happen on each of those platforms. So WordPress is kind of like the gold standard of where to build your site, especially now that they've integrated Gutenberg block editors on the back end. It's a drag and drop just like anybody else. So if you do, I would recommend WordPress, Cadence themes, Gutenberg blocks, and then doing the Events Pro plugin.
So Church Plant Media, thumbs down. Is that what you're saying?
I'm a
I've
thumbs
never heard of
down.
Church Plant Media,
That's old school.
but I would imagine if it's called Church Plant Media, that would
Tell you everything.
sounds old. That's a old man.
Oh, God.
You're like, that's my software I created. Oh, sorry.
As we've offered like more ministries like for marriage and addiction and a ministry residency,
Right.
we've tried to keep our overall menu items down on our website, but we've added more and more things under
Yeah.
each one. Like any wisdom or recommendation on like, hey, if you have this many things on your drop down, like that's stupid.
Yeah.
Or just like what would you say?
It gets, I mean, we struggle with that as well. We still kind of do. When I came on, we were that way, and it's just, it's difficult because there are so many good things. I would say segmenting them under an umbrella. So one of the things that we did, like on our church website, we put a lot of the divorce care, grief share, region, a lot of the recovery ministries under care, under that umbrella. And so when you drop down, it's under care. We put a lot of the connection stuff, so we put baptisms, connect, different resources under connect. So you just kind of have to look for those umbrella terms that would fit everything,
Okay.
and then build out those pages to cover that.
Okay.
So we have, and then like men's, women's is under adults.
Okay.
We put middle school and high school under students.
Yeah.
So it's,
I got you.
Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
I wouldn't
Close where
say
you
I wouldn't
can.
necessarily any of them. We had this trend for a while where if you had more than 5 drop downs, like Google would ding you for that, and now they're not so much. So
Okay.
again, that's like a trend that's
Yeah.
goes back and forth.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful.
Earlier you said bad video is still fine. What about
Yeah.
audio?
Bad audio is not fun. There's audio software that will help you clean it up. So you can get to Adobe Podcast is a good one. They've got things that are built into Premiere. Whatever software you're using might have an audio cleanup tool at this point. There's a lot of really good AI cleanup tools that, like when we do promo videos, I don't have to sit there and mic up Keith anymore because I can record it on my phone, throw it into Premiere, and it sounds like it's got a mic on it. So, and that just takes out, and it took out 30 minutes worth of me being like, okay, check, mic check, all that stuff. So, stuff like that cleans it up really well. Yeah, but definitely, if your video is bad, your audio needs to be good. If your video is good, your audio needs to be good. Yeah, people gotta hear what you're saying.
When you say bad video, you're talking about video quality, not
Right.
the content.
Video
of
quality,
video.
yeah. Well, hopefully you're not posting
Like,
bad quality videos, like bad content videos. But yeah, bad quality. Like if it's a little fuzzy, don't worry about. I mean, like some people get so obsessed with brightness levels and how close you are and how clear your face is, and like you don't need to worry about all that. Like especially starting out. Now, if you're at a high point, you can't go back to a low point. So that's the other part of it too. Like if you're here and you've got these black magic cameras and 4K and all this stuff, and then you go back, then people are gonna be like, what happened? They just gave up on watch on. So that's going to throw people off. But you can consistently get better, especially with the things we have now, phones and cameras, all the tech we have now.
I just have one more question.
Yeah.
For those of us that like aren't in a position to have like maybe a lot of staff energy going towards this, like what do you think a volunteer can do well, and what would you not give a volunteer to do?
It depends on the area. I would say if you're going to do anything social media, students, 100% of the time, use students, and then just provide them with tools and discernment as they post online. If somebody who is a 50-year-old grandmother like might not be the best person to post on social media, if somebody is like, you have to kind of know the person. Like if somebody's very politically opinionated, that's not the person for social media. But I would say just having that discernment and picking the right people for what you have. And then, yeah, I would honestly, volunteers are fantastic. Like we've got one guy in our student ministry that I'll literally loan a camera to because he's taking care of it. He's shown me responsibility. He's a senior in high school and he wants to do a YouTube channel. He started doing YouTube devotionals for basketball players, like very defined segment, but like, sure, take it and run with it. And then also, with what you want to do you want to post to our main account? You want to run this, and you want to run social media. So our student ministry has 5 or 6 kids that run it primarily with overseeing with the youth director. And our main account, I mean, we've got 2 or 3 different people that'll post there and monitor there. So yeah, volunteers are awesome.
All right. Anything else going once? All right. Thanks, kids.